thought since 2023 is almost over and we're about to roll into a new year, I would show you the books that I absolutely loved in 2023 and then some books that I got for Christmas that I'm going to be reading for 2024, since they're things that are on my wish list and I've wanted for a long time. And then I thought we could set a reading goal together and I could show you my journal spread that I'm doing for my reading goal, because I feel like if I have a really cute journal spread, I will definitely go back to it and fill it out and complete my reading goal for 2024, which I'm not sure how many books I want to read yet. I want to be a little bit more ambitious than I was last year because I feel like I'm more of an avid reader now, but I don't want to be so ambitious to where I don't reach the goal and then I get discouraged. So we'll figure that out together. But first, let me show you the books that I absolutely loved in 2023. My first book is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. I finished it in like 2 days, which is kind of abnormal for me, especially towards the beginning of the year because I feel like I wasn't reading as much, but it is such a good read. It's trending on Book Talk, so I know most people have read it, but if you haven't read it, it's about this girl who she basically spends all of her time sleeping and just wanting to sleep and wanting to numb out all of her emotions and feelings. And I just really love the author and how she wrote the book. Also thought the end was really good too. I know that's kind of a controversial opinion because a lot of people don't really like how it ended, but I feel like it was such a really good and fitting ending for the book, so I very much recommend this if you haven't read it already. Next was a little bit of a shorter read. I definitely recommend this if you're in kind of a book slump because I feel like it brings the joy of reading back. It's Fangs by Sarah Anderson. It's super fast, it's comic book style, and the art in this book is so pretty. I talked about it in my book camp video, I believe, but I finally read it. It was, like I said, super perfect for if you're in a reading slump. I read it as my first book in October. I really love this book and it's such a beautiful cover. The next book is Shady Hollow by Genu Black. This book is so cute and very wholesome. It's about a murder mystery story in a quiet little quaint town called Shady Hollow where a bunch of forest creatures live, and it's usually quiet and nothing happens there, but then all of a sudden there is a toad who gets murdered, and he's a pretty grumpy toad and not a lot of people like him or talk to him, but it still stirs up mystery, and from there things just unfold, and this reporter who's a fox gets to go jump on the case and figure out this murder mystery. I really love the descriptions in the book. I feel like it totally puts you in this beautiful little quaint town of Shady Hollow, which I think is just so perfect and cozy, which is right up my alley. So if you like cozy mystery stories that are a little bit more on the YA side, I would definitely recommend this book. Next is a book that I got from Book of the Month. I recently started using Book of the Month and I absolutely love it. The next book I got off of Book of the Month, I just started using Book of the Month and so far I really like the options. Sometimes there isn't one that I really am super into, but I'll still pick one anyway, and I feel like even those books are really good, but this one was one I was specifically looking for. It's actually from March of 2023, but I was still able to pick it for some reason. I think maybe it was my first time using Book of the Month, I'm not sure. But it's Wayward by Amelia Hart. This book is so good. If you like witches or books that follow like a family line between like different years, if that makes sense. This follows 3 women who are from the same bloodline in obviously different historical periods, and you just kind of follow and see how their stories connect. It's also a really beautiful nature-centered book because the women are all really drawn to nature, so if you like things like that, like more green witch or herbal, I think that you would really like this book. The last book that I'm gonna show is my all-time favorite book for 2023. I seriously don't know how anything can top this. It is Starling House by Alix E. Harrow, and she is my favorite author, I have officially decided. This book is so beautiful. I cried like 4 times while reading this book, and I'm a little bit of a crier, so it makes a little bit of sense why I cried 4 times, but it's so beautiful. I just love this writing so much. It's almost like the movie Monster House. It follows a girl who lives in a small town who hasn't had the best of luck. She and her brother live in a motel, and they live in the same town where this house, the Starling House, exists, where there's tons of rumors about it and the people who live there, and it follows her journey with the Starling House, and that's all I'll say. This book is my 10 out of 10, would reread 1,000 times over, and I wish that I could reread it for the first time again. It tugs at my heartstrings. If you read one book from any of the books I recommended, it has to be this book because this book is so good. And I am so excited to read the other books that this author has written. Please read this book. That's how I'll finish this. Now I'm gonna go over some of the books that I'm gonna read for 2024. Like I said, most of these I got for Christmas, and a lot of them have been on my want list, so definitely going to make sure to read all of those. I'll probably read a little bit more, but I'm gonna go over what I have so far. The first one is The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf. This book I actually got to read a chapter of in my Women's Studies course, and I just loved that chapter. This book goes over the impossible beauty standards that are held against women, and I feel like after watching the Barbie movie, this is something that I definitely am interested in and really want to learn more about, so I'm really excited to read her book. The next book I got during the Half Price Books 20% off sale, which I didn't even know they did that. I just happened to go into Half Price Books the day after Christmas and they were doing that sale. It's My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. This book has been so highly recommended from like every book YouTuber and every book talk influencer that I follow, so I feel like I have to read it. I haven't really read too much of the description, but from what I know, it's obviously her roommate that's a vampire. I think it's a love story. I'm not too sure. I could be totally wrong on that, but either way, it's been so highly recommended and it has really good reviews too, so I thought I would read it. Next is another women's studies genre book. It's What Would Beauvoir Do? How the Greatest Feminist Would Solve Your Everyday Problems by Tabby Jackson G and Freya Rose. I also got this at Half Price Books during their sale, and when I first saw it, I didn't really think I was gonna grab it because it kind of seemed a little more on the cheesy side, and I feel like right now what I'm really wanting is some really good nonfiction feminist novels. But then when I flipped through it, I really love how it takes problems. One of the questions that I was really interested in was, should I take my partner's name after marriage? And I feel like that's something that a lot of women kind of go through in their head and try to figure out. But what I love is how it breaks down the problem. Like it goes into what is a name, what's the tradition, what does the tradition do for you? Just things that are really, I feel like, concrete and objective and kind of help you solve this problem. And I love that it's not really telling you, yes, you should do this, no, you shouldn't do this. It's just really telling you, like I said, objective facts and helping you come up with your own answer based off of the objective facts that are in here. So I'm really excited to read this, and I highly recommend it for anyone who's kind of struggling with feminism or wants to kind of dip their toe in there. I feel like we all kind of have the same questions, especially when we're navigating this hard journey, I guess, but I definitely feel like this helps answer a lot of those questions, and I'm so excited to read this. The next two books are from that author that I said, Alex E. Harrow, who's my favorite author now. The first one is The 10,000 Doors of January, which, first of all, this cover is so beautiful. Even if I didn't know who Alex E. Harrow was, I feel like I would pick this up just because of the cover. I haven't read too much about it, but I am gonna be reading this for my first book of 2024 because it has the January in it, obviously, and she's my favorite author. I am so excited to read this. It has really good reviews as well. Then the second book by her is The Once and Future Witches. Again, beautiful cover, favorite author, what more is there to ask for? This one's a little bit different than the rest of the books that I've been showing. It is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck journal. I feel like I have a lot of self-help books and I really love reading them, but then sometimes I'm a little overwhelmed with the information, and I've been really wanting to read this book, but then I saw the journal and I was like, well, why don't I try the journal, do the exercises, because I feel like that, just in terms of how I learn and how I get information through, would help me a lot easier in understanding the content in the book. So it kind of goes through the main topics that are in the book, but then it also has a lot of journal space, which is really good because I'm trying to journal more in 2024. So I'm excited to start this journal. The next book, if you can tell, I'm kind of in my reading every feminist book under the sun era. It is Unlikable Female Characters, The Women That Pop Culture Wants You to Hate by Anna Bogotskaya. I probably said that last name wrong and I'm so sorry. I'm super into pop culture, and I feel like this topic in general is something that really interests me and I want to educate myself more about. Plus the cover looks beautiful, so definitely going to be one of the first books I read after that Alex E. Harrow book. Then this one, every single time I go to Target, I see this book, I want to pick up this book because first of all, it looks like Megan Fox. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Megan Fox. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like her and I love that. And The title, Love in the Time of Serial Killers, is just the perfect, like, I just love this title so much. I feel like this is gonna be such a good book just based off of the title and then also the cover. The back cover says, one woman's gonna have to learn how to give love a chance when she's used to suspecting the worst in this fresh romantic comedy. This just looks like it's gonna be such a funny read that I'll probably finish in like 1 to 2 reading sessions because of how funny it is. The next book is something that I am so excited to read because I am absolutely obsessed with Gilmore Girls. It's like my comfort show. Gilmore Girls is just everything to me right now, and I don't think that'll ever change. I am so thrilled that I got Lauren Graham's memoir, Talking as Fast as I Can from Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and everything in between. I cannot wait to read this, and when I was thumbing through it, I noticed that she had pictures in there, which is so exciting and I was not expecting. I just can't wait to read this. I love Lauren Graham so much, and I also love Alexis Bledel. I feel like those two characters have such a soft spot in my heart just because of how beautiful Gilmore Girls is. I feel like I could talk about this for like 20 hours. Like I can do a video just on Gilmore Girls. I know that she just put out another book as well, so I'm really excited to pick that up after I finish this one. The next book is a little bit different. It's actually a book that my partner got me for Christmas. If anyone else on here follows, I think it's Moon's Bookstore on TikTok, he did a TikTok talking about Shrek and the origins of Shrek. And this is like a weird little like fact about me, I guess, is I absolutely love Shrek, and I have ever since I was a kid, because I feel like when I was a kid, my dad really loved Shrek, and that was something that we could kind of bond on. Anytime we were sick and it was Christmas time, we would watch Shrek the Halls or that one episode of the Christmas Shrek, and it's just a soft spot for me. I just really love Shrek. I know that's kind of random, but I really love it. So my partner ended up getting me the Shrek children's book that the movie Shrek is based off of, and this is like the best book that I've ever been gifted. It's so sweet and endearing, and I'm so happy that I have this in my collection. Now that we've gone through all the books that I've read and am going to read, I'm going to go through my reading goal, and then we're gonna make my little journal spread that I'm going to hopefully consistently use to track my reading goal. I think I want to do 15 books for next year, which isn't a lot, but I also know myself, and if I try and push myself to do more, I feel like it's gonna be too much pressure and I'm not gonna get it done. This way, setting 15, I feel like that's attainable, and worst comes to worst, I can read a book every single month and then like fill it in with like little short stories or like a self-help book, and I'll at least get my goal done, because I know that things also get busy during the school year too. So I'm setting 15 books for 2024. Comment down below what your book goal is and we can motivate each other, which I feel like would be so fun. And I can also see if you're more of an ambitious reader and you're doing more, and maybe that'll motivate me to read more. So yes, please comment down below so I can see what your goals are. Let's get on to my journal spread.